Hello, Year Sevens. I know you're expecting a live lesson today, but what with having to get everything ready for you all to be back in next week and to sort out all of the testing and things, unfortunately, it's just not feasible today. So instead, I thought I'd make you a little video talking you through exactly what it is that I would like you to do. And then very, very soon we will see each other again in person, which I cannot wait for. So, first things first, if you downloaded the booklet last week, brilliant. If not, on the screen right now, you can see some different laws. And what I'd like you to do is decide which ones you think are true and which ones you think are false. And you can just talk through them. There's no need to write these down in your book or anything like that. So pause the video here and see if you can decide which of them are true and which of them are false. Okay, I'm going to tell you now then which are true and which are false. And the fact is that every single one of them is true. They are all real laws, but they're not necessarily real laws in the UK. So, for example, the one on the bottom left that says it's illegal to deny the Holocaust and you can go to prison for 5 years, that is a law in Germany. The one that says you have to trace your family tree and to see what your religions there are in your ancestry, that is a law in Israel. The one that says you cannot marry somebody your parents don't like, that is a law in India. So somewhere in the world, all of these things are actually laws. Now leave a little space for the title in your book. And can you just jot down for me which of these you think is the best law and which one you think is the most rubbish law? Okay, so just jot down the law I think is the best is, and the law I think is the worst is. Now, while you're doing that, I'll just talk you through the one on the second row on the right-hand side. It's illegal to be homosexual and is punishable by death. Homosexuality is being gay, fancying the same gender as you. So they're saying that in some countries, if you are gay, you can be killed. You can be put to death. You can be punished by being, I think it's the electric chair, something like that. So in some countries, such as Saudi Arabia, such as Russia, it's actually illegal to be gay, which is absurd because being gay isn't something that anybody chooses. It's not like you wake up one morning and you say, do you know what, I think I'll fancy girls, or do you know what, I think I'll fancy boys. It's something within us. So to punish people for being gay by killing them just seems absolutely absurd to me. So I think if I was doing what you're doing right now, that would be the one I'd put as the most stupid rule, followed swiftly by the one about slavery and the one about witchcraft, definitely. So you're just jotting down which one you think is the best of the bunch of laws and which is the most ridiculous, which is the most stupid, and you're just jotting them down in your book. So pause the video here until you've got that done. And then you can write today's title, which is teaching about kindness enough? Because we've just looked at some laws and we're very aware that every country has laws and the laws are constantly changing. If you asked me 2 years ago, did I think there was going to be a law about whether or not I had to wear a mask in a shop, I would say don't be so ridiculous. And yet, here we are. So laws are what allows us to function as a country, I guess. And we are going to compare them with this guy. You might have heard of him before. His name is Jesus. And he came up with his own little laws or rules. And we're going to compare what he was saying with the rules that we live our lives by on a daily basis in the country that we live, in the society that we live, and see whether or not Jesus' laws would work as well or not. Okay, so your title is is teaching about kindness enough, and the date is the 3rd of March. Get them down for me, please. Okay, so last week you did a brilliant job of using Edpuzzle, and you're going to do exactly the same now to watch a little video which is going to highlight to us what rules Jesus gave. Okay, so I will pop the link and the entry code in our chat on our Teams page so that you can just click on the link and type in the entry code if you need it. Okay, so as you work through, you have to type an answer and click submit before it lets you go on to the next bit of the video and see if you can spot what Jesus' rules are, what the rules that he gave were. So the message Jesus was saying then, he gave 2 rules. The first one was to love God with all of your heart and all of your soul and all of your mind. And the second one was love other people as much as you love yourself. So Jesus is saying, love God, that's the most important thing. And then love other people. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if they're your best friend or your worst enemy. Sometimes we phrase this as love your neighbour. So love everybody, irrespective of who they are. You've got to be nice to them. If you would want to be treated in a particular way, then you need to treat them in that particular way. So, using the little pictures on the screen to help you, in your book, just summarise for me what it was that Jesus was saying. So Jesus told people to love God and to love everybody else and treat them the way they would want to be treated themselves. Okay, pause here and do that for me. Okay, this is your final task of today's lesson. In your booklet, or again on the screen, if you don't have the booklet downloaded from last week, you can see there are 8 scenarios here. And each scenario is something that we might experience in our day-to-day life. And we're going to choose 2 of these, and we are going to write down what would happen if we followed the rules that we have in our society, and what would happen if we followed the rules that Jesus gave. So remember, he said, be nice to everybody. Treat everybody as you want to be treated. Love your neighbour. So I'll give you my example at the bottom there. So the first thing was the scenario. So in my table, I've written the scenario, and I haven't written the whole thing out. I've put someone drops £10. And then if I followed the rules that I was given by my family or by the school or by the UK laws that I live my life by, I would probably either give the money back to the person who dropped it, or since I don't really like the person, maybe I would give it to the teacher because maybe I wouldn't want to talk to the person who was mean to me, but I might give it to a teacher and say, oh, so-and-so dropped this. So that's what I would do if I followed the rules of the society that we live in. And if I was following Jesus' rules, I would absolutely want to give it back to that person, because even though they're mean, I'm going to treat them like I would want to be treated, and I would want somebody to give me my tenner back, so I'm going to give them their tenner back. Okay? So you are going to do exactly as I've done in my little table there. You're going to choose 2 of these scenarios, but I'm not going to let you choose that first one. So you can't do the £10 one because I've done that one and you'd just be copying me. So you've got 7 to choose from, and you're going to do 2, and you're going to pop them in a table just like I've got at the bottom there, with the scenario, what you'd do if you were living by the rules we were given, and what you'd do if we were living by Jesus' rules. And then, really simply here, I'd like you to answer this question. Is being kind, like Jesus told us to, is that enough for us to have a successful society? Have a look at the scenarios. If you do the things that Jesus' rules told you to do, would we still be living in a society where people got on, where there's not like loads of horrible stuff going on, where everybody's happy? Would that be the case or not? And when you've answered that question in a couple of sentences, that is you done for the day. Okay? You don't need to submit anything to me. You just need to make sure that all of that is done, and keep your ear to the ground about what it is we'll be doing next week. All right, look after yourselves, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.